it has always been a part of our lives, and we've always, but not really a major focus of our lives. That really came about when we had purchased a property in Cape May. Unbeknownst to us, the land behind us was in the process of being developed, or at least the owner of the property was attempting to develop it, and we didn't really find out about it until after we had purchased the property. And so it was always a concern to us. We have a mile and a half of coastline behind our house that when you're sitting on the deck in the evenings, you look out at. A lighthouse, a bird sanctuary, wonderful events over the course of the year that take place back there. And there was a chance for a number of years that that land could have been developed. It was always a concern to us. It wasn't until about 10 years ago that the Nature Conservancy, in conjunction with the Corps of Engineers, the Army Corps of Engineers, and also the Department of Environmental Protection with New Jersey, got together, bought the land. There was no longer potential of it being developed, and so it really saved that glorious view that we have. There are areas where you don't even know that you're within half a mile of civilization when you get really into the middle of some of these areas. And of course the experiences that you have as an individual, that everybody has, the unique experiences, are just absolutely phenomenal.
I just love all the diversity of nature that I'm looking at. When I look out at the wetlands, I know that there are all kinds of different plant life that the animals are using back there in the wetlands, whether it be birds or whether it be a sanctuary for the ocean life to spawn and develop. I mean, it is the breeding ground for most of the creatures that go into the ocean eventually there. And I do love watching the migrations because it's on the Atlantic Flyway, and you just see huge numbers of birds. And one of them in the September time is the skimmers. They're a very, very beautiful bird, and they come in and they rest on our beach, and they all follow each other and turn in the same direction. It's just amazing. Nature can be like that. And then we also have the monarch butterflies coming through, and one year they're there every year, but one year they decided they liked our backyard a lot, and so they were completely covering our juniper tree. And that was amazing. We watched them settle in for the night. We got up very early and watched them come awake in the morning, and it was a very special time. And when we tell people about it, they're saying, "How many butterflies? Hundreds?" Yes. So that was something that just really is special.
It is all nature. That's all that you see. You see the wetlands, you see the birds, you see the dunes and the grass. It's just a wonderful experience. And to give you a number, to put a number to the number of people, the investment by the Nature Conservancy, there are probably, and this you could find on the website, probably 300,000 people, they figure, that's the number of people on an annual basis that visit that park, that really take advantage of it. The inspiration really has to do with what I think Marty and I both see as the need that we have, that the money our estate, go to organizations or people that really deserve it. We're not simply going to give something to someone because they're related to us by blood. We're not going to give to an organization because it happens to be out there, it exists. It's going to people and it's going to organizations that really have had significant, that really are doing something in the world or have had a real impact in our lives in this particular case. In addition to that, of course, the land itself not being developed can be enjoyed by everyone who comes to Cape May and decides to take advantage of it.
I guess my message would be, as an elementary teacher, I was always trying to help pass on the message of conservation, whether it be of water or energy, but also many of the students that I taught were urban students who hadn't been in nature. And so when we would take a field trip and go to, say, in our state we have Iron Hill Museum, which has a forest area behind it where some of the mining took place, and we would take the children down a trail, and some of those children had no experience with being in anything but an urban setting, and so they were quite anxious and nervous and not having been in nature. But that's something that's horrible to think of, that there are people that don't know those situations. They haven't been out in a pasture or a woodland, or they may have been to a seashore, but only to go on the beach and play in the water there and not see any of the wetlands or the areas that surround that. So it's very important to conserve these for the future.
We have these rat snakes, and you don't see them that often, but you see them every once in a while. And I was walking through the park one day, and I happened to glance, and here was these two rat snakes, I think, had been together at one point, and the one was sort of like slithering off. This other rat snake, and I have never seen anything like it in my life, climbed a tree that had a trunk that was probably about this size. The muscle of the rat snake was able to configure itself around the trunk, and it made its way up into a tree that was probably 20, 30 feet high. And it did that because it was looking for food. It was looking for birds' nests. It was looking for something that it could consume, And to watch us, who would have thought that this snake, I mean, it's a memory that I'll never forget. Marty mentioned earlier the 200 or 300 monarch butterflies that had landed on the juniper behind our house. That's an experience that you never forget, and you want everyone to have those kinds of experiences. And the only way you're going to get them is not walking down the streets of Cape May, which are absolutely glorious, but by going into this small preserve, this sanctuary, bird sanctuary, and just sort of observing nature as it kind of unfolds. It's just a wonderful experience, and 300,000 people every year have the opportunity to do that. It's just great.